they see. Try to hold it in until it goes off.
Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Courtney Piccolo, along with my sidekick today. Yeah. So thank you. This is Gio. He just turned 2 weeks old yesterday. So 4th generation Rotarian in the making. And as you guys know, we all start our meetings off with the 4-way test. So if you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotarians use the 4-way test to guide our actions and words. The Rotary Club of York is committed to celebrating the diversity and uniqueness of all people, treating everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect. And we expect the same from everyone that we encounter. Embracing diversity and promoting equity is essential for the betterment of our club, community, and the world. Today, our opening song, The Star-Spangled Banner, and the pledge will be led by Leanne Wilson, followed by the invocation with Eric Chase and visitor introductions by Paul Minnick.
Rotarians and guests, please put your hand over your heart and please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, give proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rotarians, will you prepare yourself in the way you're most accustomed to prayer. God, our creator, we just come before you and thank you for the changes of season as the earth warms and you warm us as your people. We thank you for spring and new life that is given. We especially thank you for this opportunity to gather as Rotarians and to remember to always put service above self. We ask you to bless our speaker as she shares with us about the York County Bar Association, where she has served as the Chief Executive Officer for 14 years. We thank you for her service and her continued growth in her organization to continue to serve our community. We thank you for the food that has been prepared and served to us, and we ask for blessings on it that we may continue to nourish our bodies so that we can continue to serve you. And we ask this in the many names we call you. Amen.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guest for today's meeting. When I call your name, I would ask that you stand and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. First, we have Michael Connor, who is a visiting Rotarian from the Uptown York Club. We have Mike Trump, who is a guest of Aaron Jacobs, who is DGND, which you all know what that stands for. So I'm not going to say it, not because I can't remember it. We have a number of guests from the Youth Leadership Committee, Amani Bones, Imagine Bones, Aisha Jameson, and Becca Murray. We have Leo Lopez, who is a guest of the Membership Committee. We have Angela Merrick, who is a guest of Carrie Ebeling. We have my law partner, Justin Tamibi, who is a guest of Victoria Connor. Other guests of Victoria Connor include Susan Emmons, Hunter Schenk, Janelle Black, Tristalyn Bixler-Kint, Cheryl Kaufman. And then we also have Ken Alabeck, who is a guest of Thomas Calta-Jerome. We have Jeff Taylor, who is a guest of Lori Broadbeck. We have Linda Elliker, who is a guest of past President Lou Elliker. We have Jason Stanier, who is a guest of Jack Dyson. And then Carrie has another guest, Attorney Melanie Wiseman. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Visitors, on behalf of our Rotary Club, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you all today. It's always a pleasure to have new faces join us, whether you're here for the first time or you're returning. Rotary is all about connecting, serving, and making a positive impact in our community and beyond. And so we're very excited to have you here. Rotarians, please join me in another round of applause for our visitors. And now for some announcements. Congratulations to Rotarian Lisa Barshiner for leading a very successful Give Local York event last week. Thank you to everyone for supporting the York Rotary Foundation this year. Because of you, we raised $6,500 for the York Rotary Foundation. So thank you again to everyone. The SPD committee is meeting today, immediately following this meeting downstairs in the mixed grill and via Zoom. The York Fund Development Committee also meets immediately following this meeting in the terrace room. The Rotary Club of York Board of Directors meets tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Zoom. And at this time, I invite past President Josh George to the podium to induct some new members today.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. It's my pleasure, as always, to introduce today some new members to our club. And they just chose to stand in the corner instead of the middle. I don't know if that was intentional, accidental, or what have you. Ah, there we go. Maybe that was just some mild hazing by President Courtney. I don't know. So we'll start with the tallest person in the group, mainly because his name starts at the beginning of the alphabet. This is Josh Anstein. Josh is a graduate of Central York High School and went on to Penn State, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Marketing, and then Widener University, where he earned his law degree, and then, not being done with school, decided to get an MBA as well at Penn State. He is a senior partner at the law office of Dale Anstein. His community service includes as a volunteer for an organization which I was not familiar with, and I need to look into this, Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers. Now, I'm sure it's a really legitimate thing, but the name gives you the impression that lawyers only care about lawyers. So I hope it's not that, right? But there's so many lawyers in the room today with Victoria here, so we'll have to take a little poll at the end of the meeting and find out about that. His hobbies include golf and skiing, And he is proposed for membership in our club by past president Rob Bowen. This is Josh Anstein, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have Jake Fry. Jake, if you could wave. Jake is a graduate of Penn Manor High School and went on to Ursinus College, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts in Business and Economics, and then went to York College of Pennsylvania, where he earned his MBA. He is a financial advisor with Stonebridge Financial Group. His community service includes serving as a board member for the Financial Planning Association of Central Pennsylvania and also as a volunteer for Junior Achievement. His hobbies include hiking, camping, and working on cars. He is married to Elizabeth, and they are the parents of 2 kids, Josie, who is 4, and Logan, who is 1. And he is proposed by Sarah White. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Fry. Next, we have Serena Spezio. Serena is a graduate of Yorktown Heights High School in Westchester, New York, and went on to the Fashion Institute of Technology, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Graphic Design. She is the executive vice president at Gavin, which is part of the YGS group. Her community service includes serving as a volunteer with the Children's Home of York, the Community Progress Council, the United Way of York, and also Life Path. Her hobbies include running, crafts, gardening, cooking, and hosting themed events. She is the mother of Elle Louise, who is 3, and she is proposed for membership, by Jim Kell. Ladies and gentlemen, Serena Spezia. And also today, Lindsay Veras. Smile and wave. She's a graduate of Spring Grove High School, went on to Clarion University, where she earned her Bachelor of Science degree, and then Widener University, where she earned her Master's in Social Work. And she is also a licensed social worker. She worked for Community Progress Council as the Assistant Chief Program Officer. Her community service includes serving as a board member for Miss Bobby's Place, and she's also a graduate of the Leadership York Leadership Training Program. Her hobbies include volleyball, traveling, and I thought this was interesting. She's a fan of the Phillies and the Steelers. She is married to Mihai, and they are the parents of Gianna, who is 9, and she is proposed for membership by fellow Spring Grove alum President Courtney. Ladies and gentlemen, Lindsay Veras.
To our new members, welcome to our Rotary Club. We are thrilled to have you join us. Here you'll find a community dedicated to making a positive impact both locally and globally. Together we'll build lasting friendships and create a better future for all. Welcome aboard. Let's make a difference together. Rotarians, please help me welcome our new members. And now I invite Matt Poff to the podium to introduce our students of the month.
Good afternoon. Last week, as I sat in the back of the room and knowing that I would be here today and listening to Jeff Lobach precede me and eloquently describe the hope that we all gain from recognizing and listening to the students of the month, I was a bit intimidated to follow Jeff, knowing that I would most likely stumble over my words while he described it so well. But I did bring my Barley Snyder pen so that hopefully I could channel Jeff today. It is my great privilege to be able to recognize and introduce the students of the month from Logos Academy. Logos Academy is a Christian-based private school in the heart of the city of York, focused on classically educating its students, but also community focused and family oriented. So it's a great school and we are so happy to be able to honor them. And so today it is my privilege to honor 2 juniors who have a bit of a rivalry amongst themselves, a rivalry that started in the womb. So we have twins, Imagine and Amani Bones today. So I'm going to introduce them, and then they're going to have an opportunity to share a few things with you. So first, the oldest is Imagine Bones. She is active in the school and is a part of the Junior Optimism International Club. which is a community service club, so ties in very well with what we do. Her hobbies include varsity track and cheer, and she's a sprinter. She is a distinguished honor roll recipient, and her plans are to attend college and to study athletic training. We're also joined by her younger brother, Amani Bones. Amani is also a member of the Junior Optimist International Club, doing community service. His hobbies are varsity football, varsity track, and art. Right now, I understand that Imagine is a little faster because he is recovering from Achilles surgery, but he'll get back on the field this fall. He's an honor roll student, and his plans are to graduate, to go to college, and to get drafted into the NFL. His goal is to be drafted by the Eagles and hopefully higher than Shedeur Sanders. So I'm going to introduce, so Imagine will speak first, and then Amani will follow her.
Hello, club members. I'm Imagine Bones, and I would like to start by saying thank you for having me today. I would also like to thank my teachers and my mom for everything they have done for me. Each of you have supported me and shown me kindness and led me to the path I am today. I'm beyond lucky to have you in my life. I really like this quote from Viktor Franklin, a Holocaust survivor. When you are no longer able to change the situation, you are challenged to change yourself, and that changes everything. Quite a bit of life is out of control, but these experiences and our responses to them teach us lessons, build resilience, and shape our understanding of the world. They contribute to our personal growth and identity by influencing our perspectives, decisions, and relationships. Trying new things has always been really difficult for me. Yes, I am confident in the work that I do and the talents I have. However, sometimes I just not put myself out there. But in high school, I have been determined to grow in this area. During my freshman year, I decided that I wanted to run high school varsity track. My first couple of meets did not go as planned. However, that changed my mentality for the rest of the season. I wanted to give up. I was afraid of failure. The encouraging words of my coaches and teammates pushed me to persevere. I have come back season after season, determined to get better each year. Each year I hit a slump and reach a point where I'm really discouraged. Each time I dig in, apply myself, and start telling myself that I can do it. Battles are won or lost in the mind. This season, I have put in more work than ever, every day working behind closed doors to not only better myself physically, but mentally. Just by telling myself every day that I can and I will. I put myself through hard workouts that a year ago I would not believe I could do. I did, in these ways, running track and field has become a metaphor for my life. It has taught me discipline and value of putting myself through hard situations so that I can grow. Lessons like this will be a valuable asset to my medical career I want to pursue after high school. These lessons I can apply in every area of my life, no matter the circumstance. This award means a lot to me. It feels good to have people recognize my effort and perseverance. Once again, thank you.
I'm Amani Bones, a current junior at Locust Academy, and I play football for York High. I would like to thank the Rotary Club for this award. Thank you for selecting me for this honor. I truly appreciate the opportunity and the role that the Rotary Club plays in this community. I admire the many ways you serve, give back, and invest in the youth in our city. Your service has strengthened this community and benefited so many people, myself included. At my school, I am part of a Joy Club. We clean up trash, we do bake sales, and organize food drives to benefit our local community and build trust and relationships. The support of this community has meant a lot to me, especially lately. Unfortunately, I recently tore my ACL. It was the first quarter of my first game from my junior year. August 26th was a pivotal moment in my life that ultimately taught me resilience, struggle, and the importance of patience. The injury not only prohibited me from my favorite activities in sports, but it also forced me to deal with my limitations. I had to undergo surgery on November 14th and started a rehabilitation process not too long after that, which I'm still going through. To be honest, it is mentally and physically challenging. During this time, I learned to adapt, found new ways to stay active and engage while my body healed, and tried new activities to keep myself busy. It was a test of how much I love the sport of football, and it was a test to my determination is served as a reminder that setbacks can lead to personal growth. Through this experience, I gained a deeper appreciation for my health and the ability to move freely, because not being able to run or walk probably was way harder than I could have even imagined. I became more aware of the importance of the injury prevention and the need to listen to my body. This injury gave me compassion for so many others who struggle with their health. The journey also strengthened my relationship with my friends and family as they supported me through the ups and downs of this recovery, even through the hard days. Ultimately, tearing my ACL was more than just an injury. It was a transformative experience that shaped my perspective on life and my approach to challenges. Ultimately, I learned that tough times don't last, tough people do. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share.
Yes. Congratulations again to our students. Keep striving for excellence and making a positive impact. We're proud to celebrate your achievements. Rotarians, again, one more applause for our students of the month. And now I invite Glenn Smith to the podium to introduce our speaker for today.
Okay, good afternoon, Rotary. So our speaker today, I think many of us know her, but she embodies the essence of thoughtfulness and effective leadership, community engagement, and nonprofit stewardship. With a passion for connecting people and fostering positive change, she serves as the Executive Chief Officer of the York County Bar Association and its charitable arm, the York County Bar Foundation, a position that she's had since 2011. During her tenure, and it's important to note, despite being tasked with the monumental job of herding over 500 lawyers, a task that was almost insurmountable, but somehow she's managed to do it. Victoria has spearheaded initiatives that address evolving community needs while significantly increasing member participation within the Bar Association. Under her guidance, the York County Bar Foundation's endowment funds have reached an impressive $7.2 million. Yeah, and that has helped in solidifying its position as a pivotal force in supporting law-related programs in York County. Through her strategic vision and collaborative approach, Victoria has elevated the Bar Foundation to the largest of its kind in the Commonwealth, amplifying its impacts as York's foremost private funder of legal initiatives. Today, Victoria will be speaking about the economic impacts of the York County Bar Foundation, its supported justice-related initiatives here in York County. Victoria's influence extends well beyond her day-to-day profession. She holds respected positions with prominent professional organizations, including the immediate past president of the Pennsylvania Association of Bar Executives and County Conference of Legal Journals, and committee chair of the National Association of Bar Executives. As a champion of excellence and innovation in legal leadership, her involvement in national and regional bar foundations and councils also underscores her commitment to advancing the legal profession's philanthropic endeavors. Committed to civic engagement, her involvement in community spans diverse sections, including art, education, social services, and economic development. She's a proud a member of our Rotary Club. She was a charter member of the Uptown Club, treasurer and board member of the Appel Center for the Performing Arts, grants committee chair of the Women's Giving Circle,
treasurer of the newly formed York Safe Net, board member of the York County Mental Health Center of WellSpan York, regional advisory member of of Traditions Bank, and the list goes on. I think an absolute perfect example of service above self. Victoria's exemplary leadership has garnered widespread recognition with accolades such as the Circle of Excellence honoring among women of influence by the Central Penn Business Journal and the prestigious Athena Award. Her dedication to community service was further highlighted in 2020 when she was honored in the Martin Library Honors Program, celebrating her significant contributions to community, and just this past year where she received the Carolyn Steinhauser Prize from the Women's Giving Circle of the York County Community Foundation for her excellence in strategic philanthropy. She's a graduate of Rutgers University. She resides right here in York with her husband, Mike, who's with us today. Together, they take pride in their children's accomplishments with their daughter, Brittany, who graduated in 2009, and their son, Michael, in 2019, both Penn State grads. Victoria's unwavering commitment to fostering community connections, driving positive change, and empowering others to underscore her reputation as a formidable leader and catalyst for progress in York County and beyond. And on a personal note, I've had the pleasure of serving with Victoria on the York County Bar Association board for quite a number of years and have witnessed firsthand the change maker that she is. And I'm proud to call her a friend. Rotary, please welcome today's speaker, Victoria Connor.
Thank you so much, Glenn. That was an awesome introduction. I wonder who wrote it. All right. So let me just get organized up here. I have lots of papers to shuffle. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. Of course, it started out, people were saying the Bar Association, but it is the Bar Foundation that I will be talking about. First, I'm going to briefly talk about my career for a minute or two, and then I'm going to give a quick overview of the association and foundation and its subsidiaries, because it's a very complex structure and most people have no idea. And then we're going to dive into the economic impacts of the work that the Bar Foundation does in supporting grant making and the provision of pro bono services and free legal work that is done by our members. Without our members, there would be no Bar Foundation, let me be clear. And I just want to say too, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV. So at the Q&A portion, I will likely deflect, redirect, or outright refrain from answering any questions that can be considered providing legal advice. I'm not going to discuss tariffs or executive orders, but I may touch on the plight of immigrants and what we are doing here in York to help those that are left behind when people are deported. So let me just say to you about what I had planned with my life and what happened. I graduated from Rutgers University with a degree in visual art. How did a visual artist end up running a foundation and working with lawyers and judges? I had my own graphic design company, and we moved in to Pennsylvania in 1998 for my husband's opportunity, and that was almost 30 years ago. We never looked back because we loved raising our children here. I got a job with the American Red Cross, which was right down the street from my house. I said, oh, this will be a great job. I'll be the assistant to the executive director. And then after that, when my kids were grown and flown, I thought, you know, my next job will be to work for the State Department. We can go down to Washington, D.C. That's what I would do. Well, then I was recruited about 14 years ago, as was noted, to run the bar. And at that time, the bar had one staff member, and there was a big push to grow the foundation. And that's why they wanted me. So these faces, Art Glatfelter, Jeff Barnes, Judge John C. Euler, Louis Appel Jr., Bob and Donna Pulo, and Carolyn Steinhauser. These people were the influencers before that was ever a thing. And this group understands the role of the nonprofit community and generously supported it with their time, their strategic thinking, and their dollars. All of them brilliant business people who recognize the critical importance of having this safety net, this nonprofit safety net in our community. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them because it directly correlates to my success in my career.
Carolyn was the first layperson to serve as Bar Foundation president, and she's still a Bar Foundation board member who is now living in Willow Valley in Lancaster. She was the woman really behind educating these men and countless others like me along the way about strategic philanthropy. Remember, she was the impetus for the Community Foundation, which reached 25 million by the time she retired. And Bob Pulo was another influential layperson of the foundation board who was the catalyst for two things. First of all, our first foray into doing any kind of fundraising, specifically to raise funds for a family law attorney position at the Mid-Penn Legal Services Office. And also our named funds. He said, show me the money, attorneys. If two lawyers step forward to each create a fund, I will do the same. And so our upward trajectory began. Lawyers are competitive, do you think? And those lawyers that stepped forward, one of them is here, Bill Anstein, and then the other two were Bob and Elliot Catherman. I met all of these people when I was working for the American Red Cross. Jeff Farnes, my boss at the time, taught me how to read a financial statement and how to run a good board meeting. And after only 8 months of working together, he recognized in me the skills that brought me to be liaisoning with the White House and coordinating the memorial services for the folks who died on board Flight 93, which was unheard of. After 8 months with an organization to do a job like that, it was just an unbelievable experience. And one more comment about Bob. Bob also gave the Red Cross an award at that time from the White Rose Foundation for our work after 9/11. However, rather than show up like the guest of honors normally do, about 3 months before we had a planning meeting and he said to me, oh, Victoria, you need to plan the program for the event. So that was a little bit about Bob. You know, he's a maverick. And of course, Art Glatfelter. Art was a champion of the Red Cross and a true gentleman. 24 years ago, Art and Carolyn together founded Leave a Legacy York County. It's a volunteer-run program designed to inspire people just like us to make a charitable request here in York County. Leave a Legacy is a program of the York County Bar Foundation, and we assist our nonprofits in having the conversations about promoting bequests and planned gifts, encouraging our professional advisors to include charitable giving in their estate planning process, and of course, promoting planned giving directly to the public. We also hold today our bar's free annual Wills for Heroes clinics at the and that is for our local responders and veterans at the Arthur J. and Lee R. Glatfelter Library in Penn State, York. And we're celebrating now 15 years and nearly 700 people served. Those individuals get free wills, powers of attorney, and healthcare powers of attorney as a thank you for their service in our community. And every time I sit there at that library, I know that Art Glatfelter would have loved that. And Carolyn and Craig Trebilcock, who were on the Red Cross board at the time, Craig was the association president, recruited me for this role that I'm now in. And then there's Judge John C. Euler, who became my first boss when Craig was duly elected as a judge. So he decamped 4 months into my stint, and Judge Euler became my president. And I can't tell you enough about his professionalism, his ethics, and his leadership in law and life. So each of these people have had a huge influence. The successors of Art and Louis and other influencers who have become mentors and friends of mine as well. Jan Herold, Jody Keller, Sally Dixon, Suzanne McConkey, Maria Musty Cook, Suzanne Grice, Ann Zerby. There's a whole long list. On the men's side, Mike Kochenauer, Dave Kennedy, Tony Campisi, Jim Bergdahl, Steve Feldman, Jeff Lobach, Walt Tilley, Bill Anstein, Michael Haiti, Kevin Schreiber. It's a very, very long list, and it is an all-star cast. So I owe them a debt of gratitude. But here I want to share with you my family, my work, and my community. I give all of the credit to my husband and fellow Rotarian, Mike, who has encouraged me to pursue my dreams, even when I thought they were out of reach. And he has supported every crazy idea I have ever had, as you see him here. We were raising funds for Pink Power when we brought Broadway to the park, and he dressed as Edna to my Tracy Turnblad and hairspray. And of course, in the center of it all is my team. They don't get the credit that they deserve for all of the work that goes on. I'm up here, but day in and day out, they're doing it all. And of course, the members of our bench and our bar who do the work every day. So a little bit about my office, where I'm at. This is what we do. Our association and its charitable arm, the foundation, aspire to build our capacity for leadership and service, to improve the legal profession, our community, and the administration of justice. My office is directly across the street from Mr. Appel's, now Michael Hades. One day, Louis saw Carolyn coming into my building and said, "Where are you going?" And she replied, "To the bar." And he said, "Well, who are they and what do they do?" And so we invited him up for lunch, a simple turkey sandwich on white bread and an apple, and shared the story about the York County Bar. We had just completed our first economic impact study and were able to share the results that said a staggering $9 were returned to York County for every dollar invested in civil legal aid. He was extremely impressed about what we were about. He gave our first significant major gift to support our work. And he gave also 2 important pieces of advice. Don't buy any green bananas. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. And keep going. And so we did. And so now, and I also want to highlight that my Red Cross connection to Louis was that he had this beautiful platter created after 9/11, and it raised over $1 million for the 9/11 Relief Fund. I was there when he and Jody came to our totally newly renovated office on South George Street. Now that office is being put to great use by Bell Socializations as its new family shelter. And Jody and I also served on the York County Council of Churches together. I'd be remiss if I didn't call to your attention the flyers on your table so you can read along. One side is the fact sheet about what I'm going to reveal on the economic impact study. The other is the opportunity to learn more about what an independent judiciary is and to have some questions with some current judges, and then to meet our new candidates, Paul Minnick, as you know, and Chris Farrell. There will be some questions and answers, and this will be held at York College. If you are interested, please come and please bring a friend. Just email info@yorkbar.com to register. We have a limited space, and so we're halfway full. If you'd like to come, we'd love to have you. So here's the mission of the association and the Bar Foundation side by side. The association is a 501c6 organization, and the foundation is our charitable arm, the 501c3. The reason why I show you this side by side is the ones that are highlighted in bold are the things that overlap that both organizations have a stake in. This is what the organization that I run looks like. Collectively, I manage a complex organization of nearly $10 million in assets with a total budget of $1.6 million spread across 7 different entities. 1 501c6 and its related organization, 2 independent 501c3s, and 3 subsidiaries. And when I first came on board, we engaged the brilliant Jan Harold to help us right-size this organization. There are 3 boards, 4 sections, 34 committees spread between these 2 organizations. And I will say to you that Leave a Legacy, the Estate Planning Council, and Hard Bargain 1777 fall under the work of the foundation. But on the foundation side, I will tell you as well that non-attorneys have been the game changer on our board. So again, lots of work going on to make this organization run. And it's been an incredible challenge making it go. So this is a snapshot from our recently audited financials from the foundation. And I don't know if you can see the percentages there, but I just want to highlight to you that 47% of the income for the foundation comes from the association. When I arrived in 2011, that total was closer to 86%. So we have been slowly lessening the reliance of the foundation away from the association because it's not a sustainable business model. And you can see that thanks to the support of the association, we can give away a tremendous amount of dollars to the community. So here's what it looked like. Walt Tilley was among the founding people who started our Bar Foundation all those years ago. And I think Bill Anstein, Ned Stankowski, and others. We've all heard the quote, "If you're not endowed, you will be extinct." And that's the business plan that I have been working off of for the past 14 years. Our endowment generates 4% to be spent on operations and grant making. And the question I get frequently, especially to my peers across the country who do not have endowments like we do, what do people say when you're sitting on that kind of money? Why aren't you granting more? And I say, because that's not how a foundation works. That's not how an endowment works. Each year our expenses go up. And so our grant making has continued to be relatively flat as we're trying to build our capacity to do more. And of course, the demands from our partners in the community have increased dramatically. And I'm asked, what would I do if I had the money to make the foundation independent? It would be about a $12 million price tag to make that happen. And I said, easy. I would institutionalize what we're doing. I would, so that we would be free of financial pressure. We could pay our staff competitively, and we would be able to continue to do the work that we're doing and do more of it. We can focus on granting more and doing it more effectively. So how do we do it? We act as a venture capitalist. We make relatively small investments. We don't have huge coffers, but what we do is we use them very wisely. And we do it in the areas that where both the human needs and the opportunities for improving the justice system are great. There's a significant opportunity. That's what we're going to go for. We invest in startups that are really targeting innovation. And once they've demonstrated success, we then use our relationship to and our knowledge of the philanthropic community here to help the grantees get additional dollars. And then that funding helps them become sustainable. So the initiatives that we reviewed in our first study, which was a decade ago, achieved life-changing outcomes for residents of York County, in addition to the economic impacts of about $10 million. But the secret to our success is three things: having the right mission-driven plan, the right leadership, and the right team infrastructure to help you execute. There's no other secret sauce. And when others come before us for funding, and that's what we ask them. What are you looking for? What's the plan? Who's the leadership? Who's committed? And how else can we help you make the best possible grant or the best possible program by connecting them to partners that they may not have already thought of? And sometimes we invest in something it doesn't work out, and that's okay. But by and large, the majority of our things are a success. So now I'm going to talk to you about a few examples of what that looks like. Truancy, you have heard this, I think, many times. We were at one point 7th worst in the Commonwealth. You don't want to be 7th worst. You want to be 67th best, right? Judge Euler saw one thing, that 95% of the youth appearing before him had one thing in common. They weren't going to school. He came to us and he said, I need incentives. I need bikes. I need gift cards. The Bar Foundation said, no, you don't need incentives. You need a business plan. Let us help you. When we did a little grant, got a business plan, and then we made an investment in the first professional staff. The program was transitioned to the United Way post-COVID, and a new model has now begun. Thank you to the Children's Aid Society for picking up the baton with the Youth Court Alliance. We have to rebuild. We have a school to prison pipeline. I think you've heard this study before. 70% of inmates in our prisons are high school dropouts. If we don't front load and we keep kids in school at the beginning, we as taxpayers are paying for the prison sentences for these people. No jail cell has ever cured anyone also of mental illness or substance abuse. And so front loading diversionary programs and treatment is where we have lots of success. CARD is another example. And the Group Violence Intervention Initiative. York City Police came to us. We were an early convener, an early adopter. We gave them seed money to get the program started. And now you see that the gun violence in York has decreased dramatically. And Community Action for Recovery and Diversion, that is another program that didn't exist at the time of our first study. A few other things that we invest in is scholarships for law school students. Here you can see we've helped 76 York Countyans meet some of their tuition and book burden over the past many years. And the same thing with our Chuck Patterson Diversity Internship Scholarship, providing 2 opportunities each year for students to work here in York County while they're in law school, and hopefully then when they're graduated, they'll come back and work here in York, embodying Chuck Patterson, who is the only Black judge to the Court of Common Pleas in the history of our county, embodying his characteristics and his interest in public service. And then we have a fund called the Henry Lenz Fund, which was established by York County's first probation officer. He and his wife had a commitment. They had no children of their own, and they wanted to improve the circumstances for juveniles here. And he would provide them from a little passbook account, things like tickets to the York Fair, transportation, a pair of dungarees, funds for different things. And then when he died, Mrs. Lentz put the bulk of the estate into a trust, and it ended up coming into the hands of the Barr Foundation in 2015. And so we now, since then, have given out $90,000 of direct assistance, things like musical instruments, rent, bikes, cheerleading and football uniforms, things that really make a difference to a student who doesn't have anything else. And I just love that. And then another $220,000 going out to our partners in the community who directly serve the students and their families. So great story to tell. And other things that we have given, I mentioned Mid-Penn Legal Services and the funds that we give there. I will say to you that the York County Bar Foundation is the only thing that has stood between the York office of Mid-Penn Legal Services being open or closing its doors. It's thanks to the commitment of funders in this room, attorneys in this room who help do pro bono services as well. And I want to, again, thank Bob Pulo, because it was his idea that we go out into the community with Bill Garash and raise funds for 5 years of a salary for that family law attorney. And of course, that program exceeded its goal. And our efforts in fundraising since have now mirrored that. So since the foundation was established, we've donated into our community over $3.2 million for law-related programs. But really importantly, we've leveraged millions more. And here's how we've done it. Look at these partners, hundreds of partners, thousands of the most vulnerable people in our community supported. And we're always working on new opportunities. Lindsay, you may not know this, but we are working currently with CPC to look at 5 different opportunities to provide support to your staff in law-related areas, as well as the clients that you're serving. So now let's get into the economic impacts. This summary I'm going to give for you is a sampling of programs and initiatives that were underway in recent years with funding and support from the Barr Foundation. How do we do it? We engage national experts that know this stuff. They are heavy hitters in this space, and they have used our work to develop additional programming, including a prototype for a civil justice dashboard and for funders and state interest on lawyers' trust accounts, so that they can do an annual economic impact study like we have done, as well as metrics to help state and national benchmarks and performances. So accountability, not just here for us, but across the country. And we've been part of all of that. So our impact study was launched in early 2024. It covered the period of 2023, and there were 5 programs that we looked at. Mid-Penn Legal Services, the Community Action for Recovery and Diversion Program, and the Specialized Treatment and Recovery Team, our wellness courts, and our probation services department. And all of those things, I think that CARD was an initiative that we helped launch with seed funding a few years ago, and it works as a high-level coordinator and facilitator amongst a bunch of groups that fall under the rubric of reentry and diversion efforts in York County. START was an outgrowth of the CARD program, and that is the Specialized Treatment and Recovery Team. So that helps to connect the legal, the justice, and the mental health systems. And then, of course, our wellness courts, which help provide opportunities for people with a variety of issues, an addiction, mental health, and it collaborates closely with all of the other partners. And then, of course, probation, supervision of the people who we are helping to provide opportunities to is critically important. And this is proving to save millions of dollars in York County annually through reductions in people reoffending and the people not reoffending within up to 5 years after they've been released from probation. So the study covered a 1-year period, and now I'm going to give you the highlights. There's 3 really staggering findings. Number 1, the life-changing human impacts plus $44 million in economic return in 1 year to our community. How did that happen? Overall is that these programs produce many important impacts on their missions. They provide protection from domestic violence, opportunities to get treatment for things like drug addiction rather than being sentenced to jail. And in addition, almost as a bonus, to the substantive achievements, they produced that 44 million in economic impacts. That represents a 490% return on any funder who has invested in these programs. So my bankers in here, my wealth managers, this should be exciting to you. In addition to the mission impacts, that return in our community is astounding. You should feel really good if you've invested in the programs that we do. And that would include our county commissioners, the York County Community Foundation, the Glatfelter, the Powder Mill, and the Wareheim Foundations, and many others who donate money to support the work of these agencies. The economic impact that we found was over 4 times greater than what we found in 2013, 44 million versus 10. But the return on investment was lower. Why was that? Why was there a difference? I thought, my gosh, we would have $1 investment and it should be $12 or $14. But the difference is for these reasons. Number one, in 2013, we had a few factors that were present then that are not present now. First of all, we had the outcome of the mortgage crisis from 2008 to 2012. So that drove foreclosures up. Then there was the closure of the Immigration Detention Center at the York County Prison. And so those two things, and the other thing that I wanted to say is the other program that we looked at, Card and Start, they did not exist at that time. So that is why there is such a big difference. So a closer look at the programs, I think. We're going to start with Mid-Penn. So Mid-Penn, as you can see, families are stabilized. They're protected from domestic violence and eviction with life-changing impacts on children and adults. Imagine what happens, the trauma that happens when you face eviction. Income stability enhanced by unemployment compensation, short-term, and then of course, SSI benefits generate a 10-year income stream. In calendar year 2024, the bar-funded family law attorney position at Mid-Penn handles 68 domestic violence cases and 4 custody and visitation cases, helping 75 adults and 123 children. And the York staff helped nearly 1,000 people, serving more than 2,000 in our region. So a lot of great things going on. Here you're going to see the different impacts generated by the work that the Mid-Penn folks do. So 5.3 million overall, and this is where the funds come from. Getting disability for people, unemployment benefits that are won by the Mid-Penn staff, healthcare paid by Medicaid, Medicaid reimbursements to healthcare providers, and then there's the multiplier, $2.6 million brought in for York County businesses from the wages that are being garnered to help people here in our community. That's pretty significant. A 430% economic return on the investment. And that means that if you invested, you got your money back in the first 3 months of the services being provided. Essentially, they're doing services for free for the rest of the time. With the specialized treatment and recovery team, this is where when people are arrested, they have an opportunity to go and get help. They can be connected with a healthcare provider. They can be connected with a mental health provider and get the treatments that they need. And the statistics are up there for you to see. But over 3,200 people were getting urgent behavioral health care. We know how hard it is for people to get connected. This is essentially a shortcut for the most dire cases for people to get assistance. Shorter wait times and people who have no primary care physicians getting connected. And of course, 33% less usage of the emergency department. So it breaks down to a $9.7 million in cost savings. And how is that calculated? It's the avoidance of using the emergency room and giving you the returns that you see. Our wellness courts. This is a really, really important one I want to highlight. Silas Chamberlain, if anybody is friends with Silas on Facebook, I want to just call out something that he posted yesterday. But when you look at the wellness courts, these are programs where the people who participate are avoiding jail time by seeking help and by actively participating in their rehabilitation. So in 2023, we had 66 former offenders graduate. They avoided 1.5 years in jail. And at the time of graduation, 98% of them were employed. Thank you to those who are second chance employers in this room. and 89% of them then had their GED. Our attorneys are doing direct work with expungement and driver's license restoration and pardon clinics. And we're actually having a driver's license restoration clinic on May 29. You would have to call Janelle if you want to get somebody in there. But just think about this statistic. 1 in 13 people drive under the influence of alcohol at any given time. We could leave here, and how many of that would be as you're driving down the road? Just imagine you have 10 or 13 cars around you. Somebody near you is driving impaired, and there's not enough data to tell you that's just alcohol, not enough data to tell you what it is with drugs. So I'm going to imagine that if you see 13 cars, you can imagine probably 4 drivers are driving impaired on the road at any given time. So like I said to you, diversionary programs work. Getting people help is what we need to do. And those who want to be helped are very successful. And you can see the impacts here of how we save money, because we're saving money on incarceration. We're saving money on jail days being avoided and people being connected, like I said, with the treatments to address their underlying behavior. And then that's where our probation comes in. We've had, in that particular year, 4,300 people who were entered in probation. They got critical help entering society as full participants in their families, in their jobs, and in the community. 359 people less rearrested in 5 years following their probation. And we have really fantastic low rates of people who are reoffenders. And then, of course, 73% of those people avoiding rearrest after a certain period of time. More economic impacts, they just continue. 24.5 million saved rather than incarcerating. A huge return on our investment with a very short time. And then, of course, community action for recovery and diversion. This one is a favorite because how it happened is a very interesting story. It was the idea of Judge Trebilcock. He said, what if? Could we connect the criminal justice system, the mental health system, and the health system? We engaged Jan Harrell to do a feasibility study. Remember, could it work? Would it work? We don't know. And so Jan did her work, and the answer was yes. And what the Bar Foundation did was we provided the seed funding for the staff to get it started. We convened our partners. We leveraged an additional $480,000 to get CARD off the ground, which then led to a $4.5 million grant for WellSpan to institute the START Clinic. And this is the 90-10 rule of criminal justice. 10% up on top is what you see, right? You see the theft, the burglary, the children and youth intervention, the drug use, the unemployment, the juvenile delinquency, and the assaults. But what's below there is the mental health abuse as a child, those white bubbles. I don't know if you can read them. Foster care background, lack of education, victim of sexual assault, exposure to drug, chronic pain and injury, overuse of medications. Those are all of the things in our community that are driving the things that we see at the end. And so it became very successful. CARD was able to go from a pilot program to a sustainable community organization. It's co-located now with York County Probation and the START program. They have increased their capacity. And this very ugly chart that you can't read, I'm just going to tell you what it is. It is the layers of diversionary programs that were started since 1997. This was a chart that was created by the Administration Office of Pennsylvania Courts that show during this time from 1997 until 2021, York County has had 24 major system improvements in adult and juvenile justice, and they have had significant improvements on our community indicators. And so that's what it shows you. So cost savings, putting our assets where they need to go. What we can quantify is only the tip of the iceberg. Example, preventing one eviction is $13,000 in cost savings of emergency shelter, plus the life-changing outcomes, which include preventing childhood trauma, affecting their lifetime performance in school, in their jobs, and in their families, and keeping kids on their own in school rather than having to change mid-year. So everything that I talked about today is about saving lives, stabilizing families, improving public safety, and their economic benefits are just a bonus to all of us. So we make a pledge at the beginning of this meeting, every meeting, where we say, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How are we making that a reality for everyone? This is how. This is one of the ways how. So in conclusion, we play a critical role in advancing the health of the justice system. We deliver double leverage on the things that we're providing. And our economic impacts totaled 44 million, 4 times what we had done previously. Our challenge now is to narrow the justice gap by finding greater financial and political support for legal aid. And the opportunity is reaching out to people like you, new funders, new partners, to tell the story about what this does and what it means to you, your organizations, and our community. So I hope that this study was interesting to you, and I open it to any questions. No time. Sorry. You can come see me after if you have questions. I want to thank you all.
Thank you, Victoria, for such an insightful presentation. It's inspiring to hear how the Bar Foundation is creating real impact in York County. We appreciate your leadership and all the meaningful work that you do in our community. As you all know, instead of giving the speakers a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the book plate, and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to William Penn High School in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Our speaker next week will be Andy Barnes, the 4th president of Pennsylvania College of Art and Design in Lancaster. Prior to joining PCAD earlier this year, he was the dean of the College of Arts, Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences at York College from 2023 to 2025. Dr. Barnes will be speaking about the history of Pennsylvania College of Arts and Design, which began in York before moving to Marietta and then Lancaster. He will give a snapshot of where the college is now and the plans for future, including ways in which the college hopes to work with partners in York. This meeting is now adjourned.